So we're just, I'm taking a little perch by Beau Brummel on Jermyn Street, which I always think of as in the 1600s when it was an artist's enclave. Imagining the scene of Peter Lely as he stood on the edge of Jermyn Street and St James's Street as the grand old Queen of France, Marie de Medici, Mother of Opera, was sent into exile by Oliver Cromwell, and he refused to let her take any of her gallantry, jewels or wealth, or books or paintings or manuscripts, only the clothes she stood up in. She left the footman at the palace, whom she turned St James's Palace into an artist's colony, giving sustenance and homes to artists from around Europe and Africa. And it was a sad day. Londoners came out in their thousands. About 200,000 Londoners came out, that's the entire population at that time, came out to farewell the great old Queen, who was already very elderly. She was led off to the ship in a sedan chair, carried by these magnificent footmen who were 7 feet tall, including their wigs, which was a grand height in those days. And they carried her all the way to the ship where she went into exile. Rubens had given her his childhood home, and she stayed there for the next few months before she died of sadness. Heartache that she was separated from all her children was in politics. A woman who dedicated her life to the arts and to funding the arts. And the reason that we have such a rich artistic heritage and cultural scene even today in contemporary London is down so much into Marie de Medici and her daughter Queen Henry, who was much beloved by all, whose great art collection, which they call King Charles's collection, was actually hers, part of her remarkable dowry, but she was a benefactor of the arts, and she spent her own money on rebuilding London into a modern city that we have today, based on garden squares and glass-fronted retail arcades. That was her idea, and she funded her favourite architect, Inigo Jones, to create it. It was put into action as the greatest architectural vengeance of any monarch in history. When Charles II returned on the 29th of May, he set forth putting his mother's plans into action to create a modern London based around garden squares, reopened all the parks that Cromwell had closed, and planted plane trees everywhere, because the Cromwell's Puritan military dictatorship had chopped down every tree in England, as well as killing the elephants and the exotic wildlife sent from around the world to celebrate the coronation of his grandfather and father. And of course they sent him for his coronation. African kings sent him all the exotic elephants, and Asian kings did, and the birds. He created birdcage walk. But that was his revenge, to live happy and gaily and celebrate the arts, do everything that the Puritans eschewed. And it's marvellous to think that when we sit here on this historic Jermyn Street,